relax, and enjoy as Don Tony gives you news and reviews from AEW, NXT, and indie wrestling too.
Know what's happening in the world of wrestling without the hate and clickbait.
It's Wednesday night, Don-O-Mite.
And now, your host, Don Tony.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It is June 15th, 2022. Wednesday night Dynamite is in full force. I am Don Tony. Thanking you, as always, for joining me and the family. Big shout out to everybody. All right, look, little disclaimer that I pinned earlier. I want to make this clear right from the get-go. Wednesdays are dedicated to AEW, NXT, Impact Wrestling, NWA, indie wrestling. What we don't talk about on Wednesdays is WWE, and we are not talking about this guy tonight. That will be saved for Saturday. Just a little disclaimer, because I know a lot of people are going to keep asking about that. Let's get that right out of the way. So, all right. We're going to talk a little bit about AEW, a little bit about NXT, a couple of comments on NWA's Always Ready pay-per-view. Slammiversary is this weekend, but obviously we have to discuss a little bit more about Jeff Hardy. A lot has come out since Monday. And if you did not check out my show on Monday, cheap plug when I go like this on the replay. There you go. You can see the fingers now. Go check out what we talked about Monday. Almost everything that we spoke about ended up being true. Anybody getting the vibe that Mike Johnson still has a guilt trip about what he said, the immediate reaction when Jeff Hardy left the WWE ring into the crowd? He looked like, he was in no condition to wrestle. I think he's still guilty about that, because his first report is, oh no, Jeff was coming home from a concert. This was 9:30 in the morning. And look, I'm not going to repeat everything that we talked about on Monday, but I'm going to get into some additional details. Some you probably heard, some you probably did not. I do have a little bit of the footage of when he was pulled over by police, and I have a few very serious comments to make about this. You know, one thing that I love about doing these shows, unfortunately, when tragedy strikes, when bad things happen, good things happen, sometimes you got to really just talk. Real life, no characters, nothing. You just got to be raw and just say it. There's a lot of people that like to sweep things under the rug. Yeah, I found it fascinating that yesterday, Jake Atlas suddenly became a story. And I'm like, where the fuck were all these sites a couple of weeks ago? Oh, I get it. Because they didn't want any negative attention since Jake Atlas was last seen in AEW. So everybody kind of just sweeps it under the rug. Now we're a couple of weeks later, and now it's comfortable. And look, it doesn't look like Jake Atlas is ever going to be brought back to AEW. And my God, if you would have looked online, go on social media and just search Jake Atlas over the last 24 hours. You would have thought that this guy did such fucked up shit. And 95% of the comments was good riddance. I don't know why AEW signed you in the first place. Interesting. But obviously this Jeff Hardy situation, it cannot be swept under the rug. And I want to just say this as a repeat of what I said Monday. Don't even show me people who say, oh, I hope he wrestles anyway for Dynamite or Triple Mania because the fans were looking forward to it. Don't give me, oh, this is Tony Khan's fault for taking a beaten down man and putting him in these matches and hurting his body even further. Don't give me this, oh, WWE they knew something was up. This is 100% the fault of Jeff Hardy and nothing else? Sure, there are some very interesting questions to come out of this, but let's talk about a few things. Look, Sonny, Tammy Sytch. I don't think there's any argument. Probably one of the most hated people in wrestling, and it's to her own cause. Not just, her questionable behavior online, fighting with people, some of the things she said and done, not just the multiple DUI arrests and the behavioral issues, but now DUI manslaughter. I don't know if you saw my social media post yesterday, and I was really curious to see not only the response, but the lack of response. I posted yesterday a fact that I think was probably the most disturbing thing of them all about this Jeff Hardy situation. Jeff Hardy's blood alcohol content was 0.294. That is over 3 times the legal limit. Now, yesterday on Patreon, because we had the show yesterday, I got into a little bit of the scientific discussion because we had it still from the Tammy discussion. Jeff Hardy consumed 12 to 15 drinks minimum. And since it was 9:30 in the morning, he was probably partying all night long. And every hour that goes by, 0.015 is the average blood alcohol content that wears off. So every hour that goes by, your blood alcohol content goes lower and lower and lower. It may take 6, 7, 9, 12 hours before you might be in any condition to drive. So when you realize that Jeff Hardy may have had multiple hours where some of this wore off, his blood alcohol content could have been even higher and had to have been even higher, because you don't know how long he was driving on the highway. If he was on the highway for a couple of hours, then his blood alcohol content would have been 0.3, 0.4, 0.004 or more less. Why am I bringing up Tammy out of this? Not trying to compare the two. For only one thing. Remember the December 2021 footage when the cops showed up at the hotel where Tammy was staying at the time? And Tammy admitted that she blacks out when she drinks too much. Jeff Hardy's blood alcohol content was higher than Tammy Sytch's DUI manslaughter. Let that sink in for a minute. This was not just a couple of cocktails. This was not just, hey, at a party, somebody got married. Oh, I went to a barbecue, went to a game, and this and that. This guy had more alcohol in his bloodstream than Tammy Sytch when she committed DUI manslaughter. Either everybody ignored that fact because dickbag, asshole, me, the one that tells it like it is the one that had to tell you. If someone else out there, one member of the Cool Kids Club put that out there, you would have thousands and thousands of reactions. Some of the other people that reacted to that were bringing up Tammy and her behavior. And she's an evil person, evil this and that. It's not about Tammy versus Jeff Hardy. It was never about that. I'm just trying to explain to everyone how much alcohol this guy had in his system. You look at that arrest footage, and I have a little synopsis of it here. I'm going to show you the video in a moment. As you watch this, just pay attention to the highway. Look how busy that highway was. Jeff Hardy, it is amazing that this man did not get into a serious auto accident, possibly kill someone else or kill himself. He was driving slow. He was driving several miles under the speed limit. Now, I have the police report, But there's a lot of specific information in here that has not been released, and I'm not about to get my ass in trouble by revealing certain things that may not be, appropriate to reveal right now. It was funny because when I mentioned last night on Twitter that I had the report, I ended up having 7 requests from people. Can I have a copy? Can I have a copy? Can I see it? Even the reverse psychology. DT, I don't believe you that you have the report. Show me for proof. You know what I said to all of them in different ways? Bafangul. Bafangul. Nobody shows any attention the family's way when we're just getting into stuff. But when I have something and they don't, everybody comes running. Fuck you. So check this out. Jeff Hardy was driving extremely slow on the highway. Any of you that have ever drank and drive, hopefully you haven't, or if you know someone that does, or if you ever seen someone that does, obviously it's erratic driving, swerving in and out of lanes. You could tell when something is wrong. Multiple people called 911 reporting Jeff Hardy's white vehicle on the highway driving erratically. One of the telltale signs of somebody being intoxicated or under, narcotics is when they drive too slow. They're so paranoid. They're trying to keep some focus because what a lot of people don't understand, when your blood alcohol content, here's a little science for you. This is legit. When your blood alcohol content hits 0.25, you have almost a complete loss of all reaction to stimuli. You can't even stand or walk. And in some cases, unconsciousness. At 0.25, Jeff Hardy was higher than that. So when you are that drunk and you lose almost all consciousness, you have to literally just go on the highway and literally just stay on the road, and you can't even have the radio on. You just, all your focus, because I have to drive and I have to drive straight and I can't. And that's what happened with Jeff Hardy. He was driving so slow because he was so fucked up. Now, what was disturbing also is cops had their guns drawn. And I've said this, and look, I'm one who has criticized a lot of police over the years. And yes, you've seen some awful tragedies from George Floyd to others. Yes, I know he had a checkered past and he was under methamphetamines, still shouldn't have died and still shouldn't have been treated that way with the cops. So I could see where things could go wrong very quickly. But one thing that I have always said, I don't care if you're white, black, straight, gay, male, female, even if you have an asshole cop, they have the badge, they have the gun, they have the authority. You do not. You could flash a cell phone in their face. You could live stream it. You could feel that you have rights and I don't have to do this and I don't have to do that. And blah, 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 blah. You're not going to win. You're not going to have a cop say, okay, you're right. No, they're always going to win. You have to abide by whatever they say. And when you don't, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, straight, gay, famous person, regular person, derelict, person in a beautiful business suit, someone that looks like a biker, somebody that's naked. If you don't comply, especially when you're pissed drunk and you're stumbling all over the place, when you realize that cops have their guns drawn on Jeff Hardy, this guy could have simply stumbled in his car and they could have started firing away. It looked like he was going for a gun. How many times have you? I'm not being over dramatic right now. People don't understand how fucked up this situation ended up being. Now, I'm going to show you some footage from TMZ, and then we will speed this up, what the deal is with AEW, Triple Mania, and his future. because I said this yesterday on Patreon, and I had 24 hours to think about it, and I'm going to say it here. I think Jeff Hardy's AEW career is over, and I think most of Jeff Hardy's in-ring wrestling career may be over as well, just about over. We'll talk about it, but I want to show you this footage. And when you see the cops drawing their guns, pay attention to the brake lights. Because do I think Jeff Hardy was going to try to make a run for it? No. But see what happens when you're pissed drunk? Your motor skills are all fucked up. This guy, I don't even think, realize, like, putting the car in park, turning the car off, little things like that. If this man would have stumbled, those cops would have fired. It's not a joke. Check out this footage. It's only about 4 minutes long, but I think you'll appreciate this. All right, where is it? Talk to me. Talk to me. I'm looking for it. Okay, I got it. Here you go.
1813, 1050. Just signal 14, fail to stop, I-95 northbound, just north of 54. Just for signal 12, we've received multiple calls on. I'm getting an update now. It looked like he was going to pull over. 1109, is the vehicle pulled over?
Watch the car.
1050.
See? Yep.
Northbound, 262. 1026 straight, 1050. 94 to 1050.
Now listen closely, because you could hear some of the conversation, and we will get into the brain scan, because that's definitely a question that leaves me thinking, and I'll explain why afterwards. Look how busy that highway is, everybody. I'm sorry. I got to pause this. I have to address this with some people in the chat room. I'll be quick. Don't say that the guns were drawn because he was driving erratically. When you're in a car and the cops tell you, turn the car off, put your hands on the steering wheel, and you don't comply, and you just look stoic and you don't answer their commands, they are preparing themselves for the worst case scenario. And if you reach for something, a phone or anything, and they think it's a gun, you are wasted. That's why they drew their guns. Jeff Hardy was not listening to what they were telling him to do. That is why they did that. That is police protocol.
65 red. 635, you show me 90 over an hour. Temperature 90.
You speak English? Okay. I'm Trooper Steiner. I work for the Highway Patrol. We got several 911 calls on ya. You know why we might have gotten some calls? You don't know? You tell me. You're all over the road. What's going on with that? Here, actually, I can't even hear you. Go ahead and have a seat up here for me. Oh, don't fall over. Yeah, just have a seat. Stand over there, Trooper. All right, so why are we kind of all over the place and running on and off the road? We got like, what, 3, 4 911 calls on you? What's up with that? Okay, where are you coming from? North Carolina? And where is your final destination? So you're coming from North Carolina, going to North Carolina? I got you. You happen to have your driver's license on you? Is it in the car? Where is it at in the car? Yeah, where's your wallet located? You don't know? Okay. No, I can get it. Where's it located? Somewhere in there? Okay. So you said you have a doctor's appointment for your head coming up? Do you mind if I ask what that's for? Brain scan? Okay. Yeah. What would be causing you? Actually, I can't hear you. Here, come on over here. Okay, so let me ask you this. How come when you speak I smell alcohol from your breath? You drank a little bit today? Yeah. Okay. Roughly how many drinks? Give or take. 2 or 3? Were they like liquor, beer? Double shots of Fireball. Double shots of Fireball? Do me a favor, just have a step back. Appreciate you. So have a sip of Fireball. Okay. Mr. Hardy. All right, we're going to keep our hands out of our pockets, though, okay? I appreciate you. You a Jacksonville Jaguars fan? Come on. Yeah, good. Well, I just saw the shirt. All right. So what I want you to do, just stand on the white line and face me. You can hear me pretty clearly? Okay, good deal. I just want to make sure. Do you wear glasses or contacts? You don't? Okay, good deal. All right, so what I want you to do is put your feet together, arms down to your side, just relax. You know what day it is? Yeah. June 13th. Okay. What I would like you to do, arms down by your side, feet together. Can you put them a little bit more together? Like this. Look at my feet. Hey, Mr. Hardy, look at my feet real quick. Put them together and arms down to your side. All right, we'll run with that. What I want you to do is look at the very tip of my pen with your eyes and your eyes only, okay? Don't move your head for any portion of this exercise. You understand so far? All right, try and open your eyes. Oh. Very good.
Said.
Try and open your eyes as
said.
much as you can. I'd like to see your pupils, okay? All right, follow them, please. Not out loud, to 30. You may begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But slower. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. You're a bigger man. Hey, Rook, give me another set of cuffs, please. I think you missed 24. Just kidding. All right. The bigger guy, we're going to do 2 handcuffs, okay? So the time is 9:54 a.m. You are under arrest for the offensive DUI, okay?
Sad, man. It's sad. You know, I have said this for years and years and years. And this little part pisses off a lot of people. Alcoholism is an addiction. It's an illness. It happens to good people. It happens to rotten people. Jeff Hardy has an illness and addiction. And this is a lifelong fight. That's why I have so much respect for Jeff Jarrett now, Kurt Angle, and others. Many years ago, we used to rip the living crap out of all of them because of all the excuses they would make. Oh, remember especially Kurt Angle back in the day? Oh, everybody's after me. There's conspiracy. It's because I'm a celebrity. Everybody tries to make an excuse. When you are addicted to alcohol, you're not just physically dependent on it. You are chemically dependent on it. And the thing that really concerns me about Jeff Hardy, and this is probably the biggest question you can ask yourself right now. Jeff Hardy does not take drugs, as far as we know. No one has ever seen, he doesn't take drugs. He's taken multiple drug tests when he was in WWE, passed them all. Alcohol is not illegal. If Jeff Hardy wants to enjoy a couple of cocktails, he can. Can't get behind the wheel. That's the big problem. That is the big difference between what happened to him and what happened to Jon Moxley. Because I saw a lot of people saying, oh, look at AEW. They paid Jon Moxley, but they're suspending Jeff Hardy without pay. Jon Moxley didn't get behind the wheel. My concern as an outsider looking in, and I say this with nothing but respect towards Jeff Hardy, if alcohol is the only remedy for him, for his pain, physically and emotionally, how do you change that? How do you repair that? There isn't an ice bath alive. There's no regular strength prescription strength Tylenols without codeine and if this man, if his only remedy to deal with pain physically and emotionally is drinking, how do you change that? And that's my concern more than anything about Jeff Hardy. This is an illness. It takes over. It takes over. You know, you don't have to wear. I know a lot of people like, oh, he could have just took an Uber. The man was going to North Carolina from Florida. The man actually, if he wouldn't have been pulled over, would have attempted to drive all the way from Florida to North Carolina. You don't just one day, if you're clean as a whistle, if you don't have a problem, you don't just one day drink 12, 15, 20 drinks. He told the cops he had 2 or 3 shots of Fireball. I don't know what this guy actually drank, but I saw some details on the police report, and it's disturbing. This man has a very serious problem. I honestly have no idea how you fix this problem. Now, you see, Tony Khan issued a press release. Now, I know a lot of people got hung up on the word allegedly. Tony Khan, I'm not defending it. I'm not criticizing him. But Tony Khan, you know, they don't have a PR department. So Tony Khan is talking like others. And Tony Khan obviously is in denial. Tony Khan beloves the Hardys. A lot of what you see in AEW is fulfilling Tony Khan's fantasies first and wrestling fans second. Although a lot of people refuse to admit that. He beloves the Hardys. He doesn't want to believe that this is Jeff's situation. I guarantee you, Tony Khan may have a little bit of guilt inside, thinking like, oh my God, look at the matches that I allowed him to be in. I had no idea that he was in this rough a shape. I'm not putting any blame on Tony Khan, but all I could think to myself is, Lord knows how he feels about the situation. And it's not about Tony Khan. This is about Jeff Hardy. But this was the statement that Tony Khan made. We were able to resume contact with Jeff Hardy this afternoon. This was posted yesterday. AEW does not condone Jeff's alleged behavior. And the reason why I said alleged is because you're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. However, you know, now you see the blood alcohol content and other things. Some of that really was not worldwide available when Tony first gave the statement. Let's keep it in context. We've made it clear to Jeff that we'll assist him in getting treatment for substance abuse issues in which he has indicated that he's open to receiving. In the interim, he is suspended without pay, and he could only return to AEW upon successfully completing a treatment program and maintaining his sobriety. Look, pay attention to that last part. Maintaining his sobriety. Someone had sent this super chat. Giuseppe sent this earlier. Do I see Jeff Hardy returning to AEW before the end of 2022? That's 5.5 months. Rehab is usually 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. What time frame would you all say is completing rehab and also maintaining sobriety? Let's be honest for a minute. How does Jeff Hardy prove ever to AEW, to us, if he worked for a wigwag supermarket? I mean, how does he prove to AEW every week that he is maintaining sobriety? Are they going to give him a breathalyzer every time he shows up? Of course they're not. If you really pay attention to this closely, I don't know if Jeff Hardy will ever be back in AEW. Me personally, I would love to hear that he has overcome this latest issue. And one day he is back in an AEW ring, WWE ring, any ring, and everybody gives him a round of applause and love because this man has an illness. I can't, just because it's an illness, where he broke the law doesn't mean you should hate the guy. Sure, he should not have been on the road. Sure, he could have killed someone. He could have killed you. He could have killed your relatives. He could have killed anybody. He's got an illness. I don't know if this is ever going to be curable for Jeff Hardy. He has put his body in so much abuse over those years. There's no magic doctor out there that's going to go hocus pocus, your pain goes away. Look at that. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. It's epic. I am very concerned about Jeff Hardy. Because remember, everyone, if he would have not driven, and you got to ask yourself this too, how many times has Jeff Hardy over the last couple of years gotten behind the wheel and driven drunk? How many times has he done that? And we don't know about it because the cops never saw it or pulled him over. We don't know how many times he's been doing this. Now, I'm telling you right now, ignore all those people online that are saying our sources tell us. Some people we've talked to behind the scenes at AEW said that they knew that Jeff Hardy consumed alcohol, but we had no idea that he was drinking and driving. Don't even listen to that shit. Because you're going to see everybody suddenly is going to claim they have a source that knows this, knows that, knows this. I don't know what Jeff Hardy has been doing, has not been doing. All I know is that this is very serious. And maintaining sobriety, tell me why. And look, I'm being sincere when I say this. Tell me why, if Jeff Hardy goes through rehab, tell me why Jeff Hardy is a free person in the United States is not allowed to have a beer at home with a barbecue. Why? Because he can't resist the temptation? Think about that for a minute. So when you really look at that maintaining sobriety, you mean to tell me if he has a drink or two at somebody's wedding, but he doesn't get behind the wheel and he goes home after and now he's under control, he can have 1-2 drinks, that's still not good enough? You can't regulate that. I could tell you right now that I'm clean as a whistle, but I could have a serious drug problem you'd never even know about it. I could drive and take things and be straight as a whistle because no one has ever pulled me over and never got into an accident. You'd never have an idea. So he has got a very serious problem. And my concern is, how does it go away? What do you replace the alcohol with? Zen? I know some people said yoga and this and that. The man is hurting to the point. You don't, listen, when you drink 15 to 20 drinks, you're not doing that to party. You're not doing that to fit. You're doing it to just totally numb your entire world. I mean, it gets to a point where you don't even know that you're drinking still, and you're just consuming. I pray to God this guy could find some medium, some, neutral, I don't even know, he's going to get help. And of course, you'll probably see him go into rehab. And I'm sorry for saying this is selfish, but we tell it like it is. A lot of celebrities go into rehab more because they want to avoid jail time. Jeff Hardy is facing, some people think up to 5 years. I think realistically it's up to 1 year. I don't know if Jeff Hardy is going to even face any jail time. He's not going to have any type of a license for the next 10 years at minimum. But remember two other things, and then we'll come to the conclusion of this conversation. The brain scan. I know this is a rough question to ask, but I don't think he made that up out of nowhere. You're making excuses to the cops. I don't think you just pull one out like, yeah, I'm supposed to get a brain scan later this week. You don't just get a brain scan because you feel like it. Did AEW know that he had issues like this where he actually had to go and see a neurologist and having his brain scanned? I mean, that is some wild stuff. I don't know if AEW is aware of it. My gut feeling is that they didn't. But for this guy to have an appointment like that, something is up. I don't know if it's headaches. I don't know what it is, but it is really, really serious. And just think about this. You saw tonight's ladder match with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy losing the tag titles to the Young Bucks. We talked about it for weeks, that AEW was priming the Young Bucks to become champions again. You followed the show, you knew that already. Just keep this in the back of your mind. If Jeff Hardy did not get pulled over by the cops yesterday, or Monday, excuse me, he would have been in that ladder match tonight, and he would have been in Triple Mania on this weekend, during this weekend. Knowing that he's got to get a brain scan with the condition that he's in. Like I said, you don't just wake up one day and decide, hey, you know, today's the day I'm going to have 20 drinks. So how many weeks, months, years has he been still ingesting alcohol to numb his pain? This is a very serious issue. And that's why I don't know if he ever returns to an AEW ring. Because even if Jeff Hardy says to Tony Khan, look, I feel good, I'm fine, look at me, I'm good, I feel good, I haven't wrestled in months, I'm fine. There's obviously an addiction to the adrenaline, addiction to the pop of the crowd, addiction from doing those spots. You see it in others, from Darby Allin to Sammy Guevara and others, and I'm not dissing them at all. But there are people who are adrenaline junkies, and Jeff Hardy is obviously one of those. How do you replace that? Any indie promotion, look, when people say to me, is Jeff Hardy's wrestling career over? I say no. And the reason why I say no, his career is not over, is because even if AEW says, look, Jeff, I love you. I know you feel good. You look good. And I believe that you're no longer taking anything, but I can't, in my conscience, have you put your body through any more pain and possibly bring you to that point again. WWE, Jeff, we love you, and we know you could still do it, but we don't want to take, but I guarantee you, if a local North Carolina indie promotion says, hey, Jeff, you can wrestle on our show. And if Jeff does it for free or does it next to nothing because he just misses that so much, there will always be somebody that will put him in the ring. That's why I don't think Jeff Hardy's career is over. But when you really start breaking this down, there is a very, very, very serious issue going on here, much, much deeper than anybody had a clue. And again, just remember this. If he didn't get pulled over on Monday, no one would have had a clue. He would have had the match tonight, Triple Mania, and it would have been business as usual for Jeff Hardy. Him getting pulled over might have saved his life. But let's also remember how fucked up Florida is. Jeff Hardy only had to come up with about $500 on Monday to get out of jail. That should tell you how serious Florida actually views this. So, I don't know, man. I'm very, very concerned about Jeff Hardy. Now, Triple Mania, they had a press release today. Matt Hardy is still on their show. And he should be. Because Matt is not married to Jeff, and Jeff is not married to Matt. But, of course, Triple Mania wanted the Hardys to be together as a tag team. I mean, what promotion would not want a chance to have the Hardys on their show? But Matt Hardy should not lose opportunity because of what's going on with Jeff. Jeff has a family. Jeff is an adult. Jeff is going to have to deal with this. His friends, he needs his friends and family and the support more than ever before. Because Lord knows how that guy feels right now. Because he felt good when he was drinking. Now that's taken away. And his wrestling is taken away. And a lot of his freedoms are taken away. We don't even know if his family was aware Matt Hardy issued a statement. Matt Hardy said, and I quote, "It was disheartening to hear the news about my brother yesterday. Recovery is not a linear process, and I'll continue doing whatever I can to help my brother be healthy. Being healthy and well is the most important thing for Jeff, his wife, his children, and our family at this time." So, no, we have no idea who knew what. Doesn't matter at this point. Jeff needs all the support. You don't want this to turn into the ultimate tragedy. But he is off Triple Mania. Matt Hardy is still on. We don't know how they're going to use Matt. If they have a new tag partner for him, maybe as a singles match, we'll see. But, our thoughts are with Jeff. I just hope to God this. And listen, let's also remember one other thing. Because we talked about it on Monday, and we ended up being right. That when they had the restriction violation, we said on Monday that they probably, when they gave him a restricted license, they said, "Okay, Jeff, in order to have this restricted license, you have to have a breathalyzer equipped in your vehicle. It's an ignition cutoff. I've been an insurance guy for over 20 years. I'm licensed to write in Florida. And I know all about restricted licenses with DUI convictions." And Jeff Hardy, his vehicle was supposed to have a breathalyzer installed that every time he gets in the vehicle, in order to drive, he's got to blow in that breathalyzer, score a 0.0, and then the car starts. He did not have that installed in his vehicle. So even if they were to install this now and allowed him to drive in some capacity, he didn't follow what they told him he had to have for a couple of years. This was not just, hey, a month ago they told him to do it. Oh, I didn't get a chance yet. I can't find anybody. Amazon, it sold out. This is years that he was supposed to have this and didn't. So, all right. So that's the whole situation with Jeff Hardy. I wanted to be thorough. I know we spent 40 minutes on it, but it is a huge story. It's bigger than you realize. And I wanted to give it, its due and really speak about this. So we will move on. And hopefully the next update that we have about Jeff Hardy is something very, very positive. But I just don't want it to become another tragedy. So, all right. Let's talk a little bit about AEW tonight. Obviously, the story of tonight is building to Forbidden Door. Now, I'm sorry. I know this is going to anger some people out there. I tried so hard to find screenshots of the crowd when you had a whole bunch of New Japan wrestlers from Aussie Open to the Great Khan and others hit the ring. And nobody posted screenshots. The only screenshot that people were posted online was Orange Cassidy and what's his face? Oh, God, Will Osprey. That was the only one. But I found one with the Jericho Appreciation Society. Now, of course, I can't show you video because we don't want any copyright issues. I want you to look at that crowd in the background. Does it look like that crowd is cheering? Does it look like that they're booing? Does it look like that they're just standing there, just watching whatever is happening? If you go back and you watch that crowd during this, when they were beating down Tanahashi and Moxley, when you go back and you watch Roppongi Vice hitting the ring, Aussie Open hitting the ring, and Cash Wheeler and Wheeler Yuta, JR had the line of the night. FTR, you had Dax in a match with Will Ospreay. The match was phenomenal. But after the match is over and he's getting beat down, like 3-4 minutes later, Wheeler Yuta and Cash run down the ring, and JR's like, where were you? Were you outside getting ice cream? I mean, and the only reason why they came down running is because, oh my God, the crowd sees somebody coming from the back. Doink the Clown could have come back out from the back and people pop. It's just a reaction. But I swear to you guys, gals, go back and look at that crowd specifically when the Jericho Appreciation Society was attacking Moxley and Tanahashi. Talk about an Acme Instamatch. And then look at that same crowd when Aussie Open and Khan, it's the great O'Khan, Charlie Brown, and others hit the ring. There was almost no reaction whatsoever. Tonight, it was a weird night for me. I should have enjoyed it more, but it felt like a huge clusterfuck. It felt like Crash TV. I don't even want to compare it to when the NWO would just disturb an entire Nitro. This was clusterfuck after clusterfuck after clusterfuck after clusterfuck. And that main event tonight, I got to be honest with you, I fucking hated it. I hated, and I'm not doing a cornet on everyone. Hear me out on this. We had the Young Bucks taking on Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. And like I said, we've been talking about it for weeks. They were setting up the Young Bucks to get those titles, and they got it tonight. Christian turned on Jungle Boy tonight. Everybody and their mother knew that was happening, and it did. But when you go back and you watch that match, see, I have 3 pages of notes in my computer right now that for tonight's show, from the Jeff Hardy stuff to AEW highlights to NXT and a few other things. I actually printed this on its own, and this is only about the main event tonight. Why? Because I don't mind Crash TV. I grew up a diehard ECW fan. I love tables. I love weapons. I love ladders, chairs. Give me it all. But when everything is beautifully set up in advance. Oh, look, there's 4 tables there. Oh, look, there's a ladder there. Oh, look, there's 2 tables here. Oh, look, there's this. And everything is set up perfectly that you know it now feels like stunts than anything else. When I see 2 people fight in a match, a tag team fight in a match, a trios fight each other in a match, I want the suspension of disbelief that if the story is that Team A doesn't like Team B, I want to feel during the match like Team A doesn't like Team B. Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho, I want to feel that when they're out there, that Eddie Kingston and Jericho hate each other. When MJF and Jericho were feuding, I wanted to feel like they hated each other until I saw them hanging out watching the first half of the Stadium Stampede with Tony Khan. But when the cameras are on, I don't want to think about that. I want to get lost into the match and enjoy it and have that suspension of disbelief that the Young Bucks, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, really don't like each other. And what happened, here's an example of a sequence tonight. And if you go on AEW's Twitter, they actually put this sequence online like they're proud of it. And I'm like, this was what turned me off about the match more than anything else. Jungle Boy hits a Huracan Rana, puts Matt Jackson through a table on the outside. Okay, fine. Jungle Boy then tries to dive into the ring, gets caught by Nick. Before they could even set up the spot, I thought Jungle Boy was going to do sit-ups because he went like this. Literally, soon as Nick caught him, he went like this. And he was preparing himself to get thrown through the table on the outside. Before you could even set up the move like, oh, fuck, what did I just get myself into? He immediately did this to protect his head. I'm not saying he shouldn't protect his head. So he gets put through the table, and it gets worse. After Jungle Boy gets put through the table, Nick Jackson goes at it with Luchasaurus a little bit in the ring. And Nick stops an attempted chokeslam by Luchasaurus, and Nick Jackson kicks Luchasaurus in the head. Go back and watch it. I'll never do another show again if I'm lying. Luchasaurus gets kicked and falls out of the ring. There's nobody on that side of the ring but Luchasaurus. The next thing you know, we get a far camera shot, and lo and behold, Luchasaurus is beautifully laid out on a table. He got hit in the head, got out of the ring, and just decided, hey, this table looks nice. It looks comfy. Let me fucking lay out perfectly like a prostitute waiting for somebody to jump on her bones or his bones. Laid out on the table fucking perfectly. So what happens? Nick Jackson does an elbow, Macho Man style, through the table. Do you know later on during the match, Luchasaurus got knocked to the outside again? This motherfucker laid on another table on his own. Every spot felt like a spot. It didn't feel like somebody setting up something and it backfires. Matt Jackson got powerbombed in the ring on a ladder by Luchasaurus. Before Luchasaurus could even set him up for the powerbomb, now I'm Nick Jackson, the ladder's behind me. In the hard camera, Nick does this. He actually looks at the ladder to make sure he's set up perfectly. Of course you want someone to be set up. You don't want him to have his head hit the corner of the ladder. I get that. But the entire match felt like, okay, now it's time for me to do this. Now it's time for you to do this. Now it's time for us to do this. And when everything looks like it's just a fucking stunt show, look, props to Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, props to the Young Bucks. They put their bodies through fucking hell tonight. But it told no story whatsoever. This was, let's just do crazy shit and everybody will just pop for crazy stuff. Told no story tonight. The only story that was told was after the match when Christian attacked Jungle Boy and then hit a concerto. That was the only storyline in his whole match. That was my honest take on it. This was a complete clusterfuck. Tanahashi. All right. Tanahashi and Moxley is going to be an awesome match at Forbidden Door. I am not ripping that match. But I found it funny because Tanahashi, he no speaking no English. Almost none. We had Moxley and Tanahashi having a stare down in the ring today. And Moxley is cutting about a 5-minute promo. Now, sure, Tanahashi, this will be converted into Japanese later, and Tanahashi will understand everything that Moxley said. Now, obviously, during part of this, it was understood that when Moxley points to Tanahashi, you nod your head like you understand. Moxley cut about a 3-minute promo, and then Tanahashi grabs the mic, and all I said to myself, I said, okay, who the fuck is going to come out to stop this man because he ain't talking? And Jericho's music hits. And it's the Acme Insta match, even though the match is pretty cool for Forbidden Door. But tonight just felt like a complete clusterfuck. Again, this is a nice introduction to U.S. fans with New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's a good for New Japan Pro Wrestling because they're trying to expand their United States footprint. We've talked about Access TV many times. They can't even draw 40,000 viewers, 50,000 viewers. How the fuck is it that you have 9 to 950,000 AEW fans in the middle of this Forbidden Door storyline and you get no bump on their weekly show? Even if the weekly show has nothing to do with Forbidden Door, wouldn't the curiosity factor start kicking in? Oh, let me check this person out. Jay White is featured on Impact Wrestling almost every week, and nobody says, I fucking love Jay White. Oh my God, he's on Impact. I got to tune in. Nobody follows New Japan even with this bump. So Forbidden Door is great for New Japan because I guarantee you some United States fans will fall in love with some of the New Japan talent that they only heard about. But let's not make any confusion here. When you hear 9,000 fans tonight chanting, holy shit, 8,800 of them had no fucking idea what they're chanting holy shit though. They just know it's important because it's New Japan, Forbidden Door, Tony Khan. Saw anybody, I got to chant. I got to chant. That's what that felt like. You know, suddenly everybody gives a fuck about Jay White. When he showed up last time and wrestled on Rampage, there was no reaction whatsoever. The Switchblade era is here. Okay, Switchblade is going to be on Access TV Thursday. Let's see how much you really fucking want to watch Jay White. Let's be a little honest here. Oh my God! That's for Kevin. Not that Kevin, but Kevin. Not everything was bad tonight, but some of it was awful. And this is awful. The plaintiffs versus Wardlow. Tony Khan went on Busted Open. Tony Khan said that Wardlow will have to pin or submit every one of the 20 participants. All I know is that 4 of them was standing on the ring apron and Wardlow knocked them off. And I hear plaintiff number 18, 6, 5, and 9 have been eliminated. I did not know that you could be laying with your tummy on the mat and you still get pinned. This was not Wardlow's fault, everyone. But this is a perfect example of taking chicken shit and trying to turn it into chicken salad. I have nothing against Mark Sterling, but if I owned an indie wrestling federation and Mark Sterling was the only available manager out there, unless he was an agent and did double duty that he could get wrestlers in my company, that motherfucker would have to pay a ticket if he wanted to be in the building for my show. AEW holds him to high regard because of everything he does behind the scenes. I don't give a fuck that he's got 20 attorneys, 20 wrestlers, 20 security guards, 20 plaintiffs. I don't care if Wardlow chokeslams him, sends him through the floor, paralyzes him in storyline, not in real life. This was horrendous. This was horrendous. Plaintiff number 6 and 9 have been eliminated. And then at the very end, you know, nice little words. Oh, what did she say? She says, I can't. Oh, case dismissed. Dasha, case dismissed. Not that you're winner of the match, Wardlow. Wardlow beat the 20 plaintiffs. Case dismissed. Thank fucking God. That was horrendous. And again, it was not to the fault of Wardlow. Then afterwards, because we're supposed to give a fuck about Matt Hughes and Tyrone Woodley, Dan Lambert starts trashing Wardlow. Now, I like that because this may lead to Wardlow versus Scorpio Sky. Okay, give me that. That's fine with me. But Dan Lambert, we see 2 UFC guys sitting at ringside. And you could tell they're not going to be physical. You could tell that if they were Raw and the camera went on them, they would have been sitting there having a great time, and as soon as the camera goes on them, Lambert tells them to go in the ring and take out Wardlow. And they go in the ring, and they're all chuckling. Wardlow's like, we're all from St. Louis. I think we are all from the same cloth. So instead, they push Mark Sterling into Wardlow. Wardlow hits him with a powerbomb, and then they pose. Strike a pose, as Madonna said. Strike a pose. There's nothing to it. This is all their fantasy. You know, Orange Cassidy. Yes, we miss him. He's been ringside. It's not like he's been non-existent, but he hasn't been in the ring. And yes, Will Osprey versus Orange Cassidy is going to be awesome. Forbidden Door. Orange Cassidy got the biggest pop of the night. I can't wait for Jim Cornette to talk about tonight's show for one reason and one reason only. We had some of New Japan's elite in that building tonight. We had some of New Japan's finest. And the biggest pop was for Orange Cassidy. That should give you an idea that Forbidden Door look, AEW fans are going to support it because they're getting all their favorites. And we found out tonight that Tony Storm will be taking on Thunder Rosa at Forbidden Door as well. So we will see some women's wrestling on that card. I am a little bit disappointed that we're not getting any Stardom interaction. I know it's its own separate promotion, but why couldn't we have some Stardom involved with this too? Oh, we're getting a women's match. It feels like that they're on the card just to shut up people on social media. How come there are no women on the card? There are no women on the show. I think that's the only reason why they're on there. I thought it was so cool today to see a commercial about Pride Month, and I see this nice package about Sonny Kiss. And I'm being sincere here. I like Sonny Kiss. Sonny Kiss, great entertainer. And I'm watching this commercial, and I'm saying to myself, this motherfucker hasn't been on Dynamite in how many years? Like, oh, now I'm seeing him because it's Gay Pride Month? I mean, to me, that's like an insult. Just like a year ago, NXT had Jake Atlas and Mercedes Martinez in the main event. You remember what I said a year ago? I said, with all due respect, if it was not Gay Pride Month, would Mercedes Martinez and Jake Atlas been in that main event? I want to feel that I am being portrayed, shown on TV, given an opportunity because I kick fucking ass and I am good and I deserve it. Not because, hey, look, everybody, it's Fat Italian Guy Month. Oh, look, now everybody wants me on. I don't know. I see that and I'm like, all right, celebrate. And what happens after June is done? Then what? But again, this is not something you could say publicly, amongst the cool kids club, because how dare you say something like that? But facts are facts. So let's fill in a couple other things tonight. We opened up Dynamite with hair versus hair match. William Regal on commentary. They point out that Jericho was 2-0 in hair versus hair matches. Everybody and their mother, including me, expected Jericho to get his hair cut. I had originally, if Jeff didn't have this incident, I had originally photoshopped of Jericho bald. I had one of Ortiz bald just in case, but I expected Jericho to be bald. So what happens? Jericho puts Ortiz in the walls of Jericho. We have most of Jericho Appreciation Society at ringside. Only Eddie Kingston, from what I saw, was there on behalf of Ortiz. And then what ends up happening is, oh, wait a minute. We had Jericho puts Ortiz in the walls of Jericho. And then we get the Jericho Appreciation Society. They're brawling at ringside. And here's what I was saying before about Utah. And did I say Utah and Cash earlier? I meant Utah and Santana. They came running down the rampway, and JR is like, where have you been all this time? I'm like, yeah, because they wanted the pop of somebody running down the rampway. Oh, look, it's Yuta Michinoku to the rescue. So with the referee distracted, Eddie Kingston hits, just kind of like a Judas effect, for the predictable 2 and 98 100s. Because in AEW, finishers, weapon shots, 9 times out of 10, when you expect it to be a 3, that is when they go 2. It's like, when we go low, you go high. Or no, it's when we go high, you go low. When it's supposed to be 3, we go 2. So that shot doesn't knock out Jericho. Fuego del Sol. And you could tell it's Sammy Guevara just by looking at the physique. Fuego del Sol is nice shape, but he's not in Spanish God shape. He might be in Latino God shape, but he ain't in Spanish God shape. Fuego del Sol lays out Ortiz with a bat. Jericho gets the pin. Everybody's like, Fuego, why? Why? And then he pulls the mask off, reveals it's Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti are now part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. And loud Sammy sucks chants. So now Ortiz, he's got to get his head shaved. I don't know who that guy was in the ring. That's a barber? Seriously? That guy ever came close to my hair? Even if he was the president of Manscaped, I would have said, don't you fucking come close to me. Ortiz grabs the cutters from this guy that it looked like, hey, you plug us online all the time. You're always putting over AEW. Here, put this apron on. You're going to be a barber for about 30 seconds. Oh, my God. I mean, at least get somebody that looks like a barber. You know, get like an old fat Italian guy. Not me. Get somebody with like something. This guy looked like somebody that was like blogging or live streaming on from the crowd. Like, hey, come here, put this jacket on. So Ortiz cuts his own hair. And as he's cutting his dreads and everything, blood and guts. He's yelling blood and guts. So it was an okay match. Didn't feel as important for hair versus hair. Because, again, especially when we all thought that Jericho was going to lose that, just the match it felt like a regular Dynamite match. It didn't feel like a hair versus hair. So, some of the other matches, Will Osprey beating Dax Harwood. Excellent match. Excellent match. We will never dispute or argue that Will Osprey can't go. I'm a little surprised that Will Osprey was not a bigger name in the United States leading up to now. But obviously the guy is extremely freaking talented. He toys with his elbow pad and nails a hard elbow onto Dax from behind for the win. Then, as I said earlier, we get the clusterfuck. You get the United Army. They all come out and they're all like beaten down on FTR. Here comes Cash. Here comes Wheeler Utah and, the United Empire. They say United Army, United Empire. 99% of you out there didn't even notice the mistake. But I was like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, wait, that doesn't sound right. So this is to set up another match for Forbidden Door. And I will get into some updated matches that were confirmed tonight and some that are being teased. Moxley, Tanahashi face-to-face, as we said earlier. Before Tanahashi could say a word, Jericho comes out there just with Sammy and Ty. And Jericho says that this should have been his spot at Forbidden Door. And he announces that Sammy and Ty are now in Jericho Appreciation Society. Tanahashi gets the mic and just says one thing. J-Cole, shut up. Just like that. Not Jericho. J-Cole. Jericho, shut up. Jericho tells the rest of the JAS to come out and take out Tanahashi and Moxley. And then from behind, more clusterfuck. Lance Archer and Desperado hit the ring. They laid him out. And like I said, if you actually watch the beatdown, the crowd, look at most of them. They're looking for the sign. Can we have more people come out for the save? Give me more. Give me more. Give me more. To me, it fell flat. But this is to set up a match for Forbidden Door. I'll tell you what that match is in a moment. Well, actually, I'll tell you now. Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara versus Yuta Michinoku, Wheeler Yuta, Shota Umino, and Eddie Kingston. Okay, it's not a bad match. Again, I don't think there's going to be any bad matches on this card. But there's going to be a lot of names on there that the everyday wrestling fan, like I said, if you see anybody out there overly gushing about some of these New Japan wrestlers, just do an advanced Twitter search. And let's see how big of a fan they were of these people over the last, I don't know, month, year, decade, century. Miro beats Ethan Page rather easily. Dan Lambert tried to interfere. He got laid out for his troubles. Miro extremely over with the crowd. Miro now joins PAC at Forbidden Door because the All-Atlantic Championship will be a four-way. And the other participants, I will tell you who they will be in a moment. Toni Storm getting the win on Britt Baker. This was a decent match. You know, they were pointed out that Toni Storm was trying to avenge her only loss, which was against Britt Baker, Owen Hart tournament. And she did. Toni Storm blocks the lockjaw, hits the Storm Zero for the win. And Toni Storm, there was a promo that she said earlier. I was a little confused. She was addressing Britt Baker, and she's saying that she's going to bring the women's division to the level it should be. And everybody wants to see Toni Storm as women's champion, but she kept focusing on Britt Baker and not Thunder Rosa. But they did have the stare down later on, and they announced it for Forbidden Door, Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa. Stokely Hathaway, Rampage guy. Now, Jay Cargill Open Challenge, and Willow Nightingale accepts it. Now, if any of you out there have not ever seen Willow Nightingale, she's pretty good. I mean, we know what the outcome is going to be on Rampage, but she's pretty good. And she got a nice little promo exchange with Stokely Hathaway tonight. So you might want to do a little research on Willow. Very, very big fan favorite in the indie wrestling world. Hangman Page comes out. He wanted a match against Okada at Forbidden Door. Okada will not be at Forbidden Door. I think, his wife is supposed to give birth, I believe. He dropped the title to Jay White over the weekend. So Hangman Page never even thought that Okada could have lost the title before Forbidden Door, but he did. So he still wants that IWGP championship. So he says the challenge still stands. Adam Cole comes out, and he calls him a stupid cowboy. He congratulates Jay White for winning the IWGP title, brings up Bullet Club a few times, and he says if anybody is going to face Jay White at Forbidden Door, it's him. And Adam Cole's got a little surprise. Jay White comes out. He attacks Hangman Page from behind, hits him with a Blade Runner. As Hangman Page is laid out in the middle of the ring, Jay White cuts a promo. And he says that Page doesn't call the shots. He lost to CM Punk. He lost his championship. And their record against each other is 2-0 in favor of Jay White. So Jay White says that he'll put its title on the line at Forbidden Door, but it's not going to be against Hangman Page. And then he looks at Adam Cole, who thinks he's got it. And Jay White says, not against you either. I call the shots. It's now the Switchblade era. So we don't know who it's going to be, even though we expect it to be a three-way. Hangman Page versus Adam Cole versus Jay White. And then the main event, which we already talked about. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, they lose the tag team championships against the Young Bucks. This was a hot mess. And in the end, Luchasaurus, choreographed spot. He climbs the ladder, goes for the belts. And then the Young Bucks, they just, tilt. Oh, by the way, there was another spot that I noticed earlier. Did you notice this right before the end of the match? You had Jungle Boy and both members of the Young Bucks climbing the ladders. And you have both Young Bucks on one ladder, front and back, and you had Jungle Boy on the other. They're trying to climb up at the same time. Jungle Boy pushes the other ladder. So the Young Bucks, now they were obviously too far away to go through tables outside the ring, but they were supposed to snap off of the side ring ropes. So Jungle Boy pushes the ladder over, and they fall into the ring ropes, and they no-sell it. They flip backwards so to make sure that Jungle Boy gets knocked off of his ladder as well. Just like I said, little things like that. I got to get this in. I got to get this in. Now you could do this, and I could do that. So Luchasaurus gets put through tables outside the ring, and then Jungle Boy tries to get the upper advantage, gets hit with a BTE trigger, and then the Young Bucks climb the ladders and get the belts. And then Christian comes out, consoles Luchasaurus, supposedly consoles Jungle Boy, and then hits the, I'm prettier on Jungle Boy, and then hits him with a concerto. And we go off the air. Crowd pop big for the Christian turn. So we'll see where that goes. So anyway, this is the announced matches and some rumored matches for Forbidden Door. We have Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the interim AEW championship, the World Championship. Now, as far as the AEW Atlantic title, follow me on this one. PAC and Miro are going to be a Forbidden Door. The other two participants in the match have not been decided yet. One of the participants is going to be the winner of Malachi Black versus Penta. Now, I hate to break it to anybody out there. Penta is not, I guess you could use this word, allowed to be a Forbidden Door. See, CMLL and AAA, they don't work well with each other. They're rivals. And Andrade, Ray Fenix, and Penta are all part of AAA. Because of that, AAA said, you ain't fucking going to Forbidden Door. So you could pretty much lock it up that Malachi Black will absorb that third slot. Now, as far as the fourth slot, and remember what I said last week about the New Japan logo, that does not mean that somebody from the United States cannot be in there. You know, a lot of people looked at that and immediately said, oh, Japan. We're going to have Tomokai Honma and Clark Connors going at it. Then we're going to have Tomohiro Ishii and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, excuse me. And then the winners of those two matches will face each other. And then the winner of that match will join what is expected to be Malachi Black, Miro, and PAC. Now, we'll get back to the Atlantic Championship in a minute. We just get into a couple other matches. Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara versus Wheeler Yuta, Shota Umino, and Eddie Kingston. We're probably going to have Roppongi Vice and FTR versus the United Empire. We expect to have Hangman Page versus Adam Cole versus Jay White. And then the match that most people think is going to happen to Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson. So, again, nice card. Nice card. I'm not crapping on that whatsoever. But the build to this, you could see it on TV. It's just clusterfuck after clusterfuck after cluster. And let's also remember, a lot of these New Japan stars that you saw tonight, pay attention to the indie circuit the next week or two. Those guys are working indie shows. You do not fly all of them in there just to appear on 1 or 2 weeks of Dynamite and then they fly back. You're going to see some of those guys wrestle for other companies. We've already talked about that from Minoru Suzuki to others. So maybe some of these guys will be coming to a town near you. You might want to check them out. Now, as far as the Atlantic Championship, I don't know if this convinces me that this title is necessary, but obviously common sense, this is more of an international title than anything else. So Tony Khan did an interview with comicbook.com, and as far as this championship goes, to explain why this was created, his answer is, and I quote, this is what Tony Khan had to say about this title. It's a heavy emphasis on international competition, but the United States can get involved in the competition, and I think it's a great way to spotlight a lot of the international wrestlers in AEW and the international presence that AEW has developed over the years, now with our shows in 130 countries around the world, great ratings in so many international markets, including every week finishing as the #1 wrestling company in the UK, blah, 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 blah. So basically what this title will be is you'll probably have one international person in the United States, and they will defend that title against the United States wrestlers for the most part. Maybe we'll have an international guy versus an international guy. I think this title, more than anything, might play hot potato overseas. You know, just like when you see Jonathan Gresham defending the Ring of Honor championship now in various places. But let's all be honest, Ring of Honor is dead right now. You know, you could say, no, it's clinging to life. No, I got a pulse. I got a pulse. Until this fucking company is back touring regular shows, you know, you could have people walk out with titles. What does that really mean? So this title will be somewhat like the Ring of Honor titles right now. Someone will carry it overseas for a little bit, and it keeps the AEW name out there. So Jonathan Gresham, Kevon Lewis, not Jonathan Coachman. So, all right, very quickly. NXT. I got to be honest with you, man. It blew me away that they did 612 in the ratings this week. Pre-recorded. Matches did not sound extremely appealing and still did 612. Last week was 657. I expected over 100,000 viewer drop, more than anything because it was pre-recorded. But they scored a pretty damn good rating. Now, a couple of things coming out of yesterday that we have to touch on for a minute. Before I even mention the matches, we laughed our asses off at three things that happened on NXT yesterday. First of all, Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews, if you didn't see it, was sitting in a diner, and there's some dickhead indie wrestler that we've never seen sitting at a different table, and he is yelling at the waitress, "Where's my fucking food? I've been sitting here for 10 minutes. Where's my goddamn food? This place sucks. Do your job. Get off your lazy..." I mean, obviously he wasn't cursing. And Apollo Crews, pay attention to his table. Motherfucker didn't even have a napkin on his table. Apollo Crews is just sitting there with a notepad, no coffee, no napkins, no nothing. The guy that's sitting at the other table bashing the waitress, no napkins, no coffee, no forks, no knives, no nothing. It just looked awful. It looked sloppy. But Apollo Crews gets up. "Is there a problem here? Get lost." Boom. And then we thought somebody rewound NXT because we were laughing in the watch party. And next thing you know, we hear the guy yelling again. And then Apollo Crews walks up. "Is there a problem here? Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here." Boom. It was awful. It was so bad. It was funny. Yeah, the Equalizer, Shub Bear. Yeah. Kind of like the Equalizer. Apollo Crews. Everybody in the restaurant. I guess this was "we don't serve no food" restaurant. Nobody in the restaurant was eating or drinking. Nobody. Not one person. I see ketchup in the background, though. All right. The second thing. The Dyad made their debut. And if you remember, nobody took pictures of their debut last week since it's pre-recorded. Soulfly got a screenshot from a social media site where they were standing in the ring, but it wasn't in action. They were just posing, and they had their outfits on. And we joked last week. We said, are these idiots going to actually wrestle with their outfits still on? I mean, I'm not trying to be like controversial or assholes here, but it looks like red Ku Klux Klan outfits. It looks like, like, oh, hey, we bought our, wait, what's that store that, what's his face? Brody King made fun of Edge when you buy House of Black on Wish. Is that what it was? It was like if the Ku Klux Klan bought their outfits on Wish. Those outfits are awful. And the longer you keep them under the outfits, the more of a chance we're never going to find out who they are, because if you unmask them, you have to have your local NXT crowd going, who in NXT that we haven't seen except for the grizzled young veterans? Who could possibly unmask where the crowd is going to be like, oh. I wouldn't even do that for the grizzled young veterans. So they're wrestling with the freaking outfits. What is even worse about that? They faced Dante Chen and Javier Bernal. These guys, at some points in the match, were kicking the crap out of the Dyad. Now, if I'm the dyad and I'm getting my ass kicked by Dante Chen and I have a hood over my head and I'm getting my ass kicked from Dante Chen, don't you think at least one time during a match, 2 times, every opportunity I can, I try to pull the hoods off? These motherfuckers are beating up the dyad and they don't even try to pull the hoods off. Come on, I know it's developmental, but WWE, I'm not mentally retarded here. That was freaking awful. But the best part, and we've given praise for Tiffany Stratton. She's definitely improved in the ring. Yesterday, we had the Malachi Black, Julia Hart moment. During Tiffany Stratton's match against Fallon Henley yesterday, we had Wendy Chu come out. And she's bouncing. If you remember when we were kids, we talked about it on an old Q&A show many, probably like a year ago. Remember the hippity horse? When we grew up, it was like a yellow round thing with a horse's head on the end and you would hop upside down. I had one when I was a kid. I actually have a baby picture of me when I was like 5 with one of those hoppity horses, whatever they were. She comes out bopping on a ball, looked the same, and she's got a confetti gun. Now in storyline, the confetti gun was supposed to go off and shoot a whole bunch of confetti in Tiffany Stratton's face. Unfortunately, if you look closely, she missed by a mile. The confetti is nowhere near Tiffany Stratton. Let's enlarge it a little bit. Look, it's nowhere near her face. Look, oh my God, I'm blinded. Oh my God. And she goes backwards and she gets pinned. She's acting like she sold it. First of all, what NXT should have realized, they're in Orlando. They're right by Disney World. You walk into Disney World, you must be this tall to be on a ride. You know, Wendy Chu is extremely short. If you're going to have her hit the ring and put something in somebody's face, especially somebody who is as tall as Tiffany Stratton, you must be this tall in order to use confetti gun. So what happened, just like Malachi Black when he spit the mist and hit Brian Pillman Jr.'s forehead instead of Julie Hart, fucking Wendy Chu hit the gun yesterday and missed by a mile. It's like a bad porn where you get to the climax and the girl is standing there waiting for it, and then you look and it hit the wall instead. I'm sorry for being a little disgusting tonight. That's the only analogy I got for you when it's late like this. So, match results from yesterday. Fallon Henley over Tiffany Stratton. The Creed brothers retain the tag titles, beating Idris Enofi and Malik Blade. It's pretty funny. Malik Blade waited 55 minutes to tell his tag partner, it's all right, we'll get another shot. They waited 55 minutes, and Cameron Grimes is like, another shot. So Cameron Grimes might be turning heel soon. Wes Lee over Zion Quinn. The Dyad over Dante Chen and Javier Bernal. Braun Breaker beating Duke Hudson to retain the NXT Championship. Giovanni Vinci. We can't just say Giovanni Vinci, or as some idiots that do podcasts, Giovanni Vinci. Vinci. Not Vincent, Vinci. Giovanni Vinci. No. Giovanni Vinci. He beat Guru Raj. I don't know how long that gimmick's going to last. I don't think it's going to last. I'm sorry. I watched it. Sorry. I don't care. It's not going to work. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams over Stacks and Two Dimes. Cora Jade, Indy Hartwell, and Roxanne Perez over Toxic Attraction. Fun show. Can't really criticize it, but since it was pre-recorded and we knew most of the match results already, you know, if you paid attention to it, you just didn't know what actual matches were going to be put together for this week because they taped 2 weeks worth of shows. And if you paid attention to the spoilers last week, some of the matches we saw yesterday, we thought we were going to air the following week. By the way, I'll get into some of those super chats in a moment. I see one I'm not, again, we're not, I appreciate it, but we're not getting into WWE stuff tonight, but I'll answer it quick before we finish. I'll answer. I don't mind. But again, Wednesdays, we try to dedicate it to everything that's not WWE. All right. Very quickly, Tony D'Angelo's injury and two dimes. First of all, Tony D'Angelo, he wrestled Cameron Grimes over the weekend. He landed awkwardly on his shoulder. They were concerned. They didn't want to take a chance. Finish the match. Sorry, Florida, in front of 200 fans. Red X. Match ended abruptly. Had an MRI. Apparently no damage. So he will be out of action for a very short period of time. The match against Carmelo Hayes was recorded a couple of days earlier. So when you see Tony D'Angelo versus Carmelo Hayes next week, you know why. Now, two dimes. Troy Donovan. He was released. We put the jinx on him, everyone, because if you have been paying attention to this show, I have been telling you over and over again, he looks like a guy from Starbucks that just decided, hey, cut a little more on the sides. Just because you put a wife beater shirt on him and you make him appear to be Italian. First of all, he's not Italian. His last name is Donovan. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. He didn't look the part. He didn't fit the part. He doesn't wrestle all that spectacular. In fact, if you go back and watch the NXT event that took place 2 weeks ago, he actually was pretty awful in that match. Now, what I will say is this. A lot of people are claiming he failed the wellness program. Now, I talked to someone who gives me credible news. We do break stuff here. We just don't look for accolades or acknowledgement outside. I do it for you. I don't do it for them. And I asked this person, I said, did he get released from the wellness violation? Now, it's a little complicated, but what I will say is this. Out of respect to Troy Donovan, because even though I feel it didn't work with the D'Angelo family storyline, he's not a bad guy. And he's still very, very young in his career. So you got to give the guy a chance. So I'm not saying let's just shit on him and that's it. He's done. He'll get better. And maybe he's brought back in a different capacity. But I will say this. Troy Donovan did not reveal publicly why he was let go. All he said was mistakes happen, lessons are learned, bump in the road will not define him. So people read that and they read somebody saying it was a policy issue. Okay, sausage, everybody, sausage. In all of the years that you are a wrestling fan, especially a WWE fan, whenever anybody is released, even the last 2-3 years when more people got released than it'll be at my wedding, did you ever hear anybody say that so-and-so was released due to a policy issue? I've been a wrestling fan since 1979. Going from the Attitude Era, people jumping from WCW and back and forth. I don't ever remember anybody ever getting released and they said policy issue. When someone says that term, let's interpret it in simple English. They don't fucking know. Because if it was a wellness violation, they would just say wellness violation. If it was a behavioral issue behind the scenes, then you would say it. When you say policy issue, you're basically saying, okay, he did something that WWE was against WWE practices, but we don't know what the fuck it is. So we'll just be extremely vague and say policy issue. Policy issue, this is how the sausage is made, everyone. When they don't know the answer, they'll use creative words that has never been said before. Policy issue. What the fuck does that mean? So, again, he did not reveal the actual reason, so I'm certainly not. But I will say this. I'm not going to go out there and say policy issue to try to make it seem like I know the exact reason, but I choose to be extremely, unbelievably vague, which is even worse because now you got every fuck out there saying, oh, it was a fairness of the wellness program. Just like when we were talking way back when Jeff Hardy walked out of the WWE ring. When when Mike Johnson said that Jeff Hardy was in no condition to wrestle. What the fuck was that? Then everybody runs with it. So don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. All right. We're going to start bringing this home because we are running a little bit late. Obviously, the Jeff Hardy story is a big story that we needed to talk about. We have Slammiversary this weekend. It's not a bad card. I'm going to run down it very, very quickly. Now, they are bringing back the Reverse Battle Royal. I mean, I know it's nostalgia, but I never liked the Reverse Battle Royal. And it's on the pre-show, kickoff show. So that should give you an idea as far as the importance of that. So we don't know who the participants are going to be yet. Rich Swann will be defending the Impact Digital Media Championship against Brian Myers. I expect Brian Myers to win it. For the Impact World Championship, Josh Alexander defends against Eric Young. And, we criticized Impact about their pay-per-view posters. They finally got off their lazy ass and made a pay-per-view poster. Now, I'm only starting to get experience doing thumbnails for my shows. If you notice the thumbnails now, they're getting a little bit better. It's just me doing it. I could tell you, anyone out there that's watching this right now that ever did thumbnails for like a show, this probably took about 45 seconds to make. They took 2 PNG files, put the belt in the middle, and put in the background Slammiversary and a little bit of, background speckle. That took about 2 minutes, realistically. That is awful. I'm buying a pay-per-view for that? I mean, come on. Yes, it is Eric Young in that picture. It's Josh Alexander defending the Impact World title against Eric Young. Josh Alexander will retain. Ace Austin defending the Impact X Division title in an Ultimate X match. He's defending against Kenny King, Mike Bailey, Trey Miguel, Jack Evans, and Alex Zane. I'll go with Mike Bailey to get it, just to be different. Tasha Steelz defends the Impact Knockouts World Championship in a Queen of the Mountain match. Mickie James will be the special guest enforcer. She's taking on Chelsea Green, Deonna Purrazzo, Jordan Grace, and Mia Yim. Going with Tasha Steelz to retain. For the Impact Tag titles, those free agents that everybody online gushes about, yet nobody extra tunes in to watch them on Impact. The Briscoes will be defending the Impact Tag Team Championships against the Good Brothers. I'm going with the Briscoes to retain. The Impact Originals, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Frankie Kazarian, and 2 competitors to be announced versus Honor No More of Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, PCO, and Vincent. I'm going with Honor No More to win. Sami Callihan against Moose in a Monsters Ball match. I'm going with Moose to win. And for the Impact Knockouts Tag Team titles, the Influence of Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood defending their titles against Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. I'd like to see Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie get it. Never say never about beer money, but I think Robert Roode is a little busy. Speaking of never say never, Gail Kim would love to have Paige in Impact Wrestling. She showed a lot of appreciation and respect online. She wrote that she admires everything that Paige has done in wrestling. It's nothing but respect for her. If she ever wants to come over to Impact, the door is wide open. Come on over, Paige. That's what Gail Kim says. All right. NWA always ready this weekend. I'm going to give you quick results and we got to just mention briefly about Aaron Stevens, because there is a WWE tie with this. For the heavyweight championship, it ended up being Trevor Murdoch beating Nick Aldis, Sam Shaw, and Tom Latimer. Obviously, Matt Cardona could not even compete. He had to surrender the title because of the torn bicep. Trevor Murdoch regains the championship. You know my feelings on that already. I'm sorry. I think Nick Aldis, bigger presence with that championship. They gave it back to Trevor Murdoch. Camille retained the women's title, beating Kylan King. For the tag titles, Doug Williams and Harry Smith, they won the titles, beating Bestia 666 and Mecha Wolf. I think I got every prediction right on this, believe it or not. Oh, no, actually I didn't, because I expected Aldis. But I thought Aldis was going to take on Cardona. Jax Dane retained the National Heavyweight Championship, beating Chris Adonis. Tyrus retained the TV title, beating Sion. For the Junior Heavyweight Championship, Homicide retained over Colby Carino. Natalia Markova over Taya Valkyrie. We also had Homicide defend the championship. First, he beat PJ Hawks, and then it led to a match with Corey Carino, so he wrestled twice. And then for the women's tag team titles, we had Allison Kay and Marty Bell win the championships, beating Ella Envy and Kenzie Paige. Now, the big news coming out of this, Aaron Stevens, he announced at NWA that his wrestling career is done. A lot of people believe that he has retired from in-ring competition. But then Monday on Raw, Ezekiel announced that Elias is going to return next week and he's going to have a concert. Doesn't it feel weird to talk about Raw all of a sudden when we've talked an hour and 40 minutes about everything but WWE? It does feel a little weird, right? So next week we're getting Elias. I don't get it, but it is unreal how many people online really believe that Aaron Stevens, the former Damian Sandow, is going to show up dressed like Elias. Some people, think it's just an idea. There's a lot of people that actually think that's going to happen. Now, I'm not going to throw the beard back on, but we already talked Monday how they're going to have Elias on. It is not going to be Damian Sandow. I would be shocked beyond belief. It's not going to be Damian Sandow. It's going to be Ezekiel wearing a fake beard. And again, the beard might be very gray. So, say hello to Mr. Gray. Walk with Sandow. Look, I'd love to see Damian Sandow back in WWE. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. His retirement may actually stick. Although a good part of me thinks that his retirement is just from NWA. I think that he's got still enough in the tank. He's not over the hill unless he's just emotionally and physically just depleted from, not going further. I think some of that was his choice, but I just don't see Aaron Stevens showing up as Elias. I just don't see that. It's not going to happen. So, all right. Very quickly, yesterday we had the NXT watch party. And as you see on the right, we were going to give away 2 Shotzi Blackheart autograph photos. Not one person getting 2 photos, but we were going to give away 2 photos, 2 winners. Each gets a photo. I choose which one they get, obviously. But as you can see, that is a very awesome Friday the 13th theme to this. Shotzi Blackheart is uber hot. Then you add Friday the 13th to it. And I didn't even realize it originally that she's holding the Jason mask. She pulled the Jason mask off and she's standing on top of him. Sasha Banks will talk about Saturday. Hashtag, I don't want to be first. I want to be right. When I get all the specifics, We will talk about it Saturday. So we're going to spin the wheel twice tonight, right now, and give away 2 Shotzi Blackheart photos. Now, as we now do, as we have said before, by the way, I made the letters bigger so everybody could see it a little bit better. You might see people listed twice on the wheel. That's because if you show up at a watch party and just type in the chat, text, hello, everybody, and then you don't say anything for the rest of the night, I'll give you an entry. But if you actually go on the stage and talk and chat with us during the night about NXT, AEW, Jeff Hardy, or whatever, then you get 2 entries. So those who have 2 spots, that's because they actually interacted. That's what the watch party is for. Don't want people to just sign in and walk away for 2 hours and like, hey, I'm here. Give me credit. I'm present. So let's spin this wheel twice and let's see who gets these photos. Good luck. Good luck. I could take a slurp of my soda. Some people have been on a hot streak winning some prizes. Look at that. Aphrodite Crush. He gets one of the Shotzi photos. Let's spin it again. Now, if it lands on him again, it's not fixed, but we're not going to give him 2. We'll just spin it a second time. That just goes to show you. Okay, Molette. I think this is Molette's first prize. Molette 23. Molette. Congrats. Molette and Aphrodite's Crush. And I think they're both present right now. Kudos. All right. What else do we need to get into? I think that is it. All right. I'm going to answer this. Official thump. Do I think WWE should go back to TV 14 or no? No, I don't. AEW is TV 14. That's why I don't like ever comparing AEW's programming to WWE's. AEW uses violence. It's like, look, it's like going to a movie. And you go to a movie and you want to see a little bit of violence, a little bit of blood, a little strong language, a little sexual overtones. And then you go to a kids-friendly movie or, you know, barely PG rating. Oh, there's no blood. There's no cursing. There's no violence. You know, WWE is just a different type of programming. Everything is sports entertainment. Ring of Honor was sports entertainment. MLW was sports entertainment. Lucha Underground, Impact Wrestling, WWE. It's all sports entertainment. It's just different styles of sports entertainment. It's predetermined. It's sports entertainment. I don't think they should go back to TV 14. First of all, the sponsors would be absolutely livid, and they have to answer to their sponsors. Investors invest in the product because it is family-friendly entertainment. Yes, it is choreographed violence, simulated violence, but still the investors invest in this product because of it being more family-friendly, kid-friendly. You know, you can advertise it on regular TV, and you don't have to worry about somebody like Yuta Michinoku gushing blood, that the blood would hit somebody a block away. So, no, I don't think WWE should go back to TV 14. And when I was growing up with Piper and everybody else, that was PG rated, and he did a good job, you know, doing PG. So it's not the rating, it's the type of writing. So I say no. I don't think they should. And Neslo, rumors going wild that Sasha Banks got released from the company. Don't know how much of that's true. Well, as I said earlier, I don't want to be first. I want to be right. We're in an age now, get attention at any way possible. Whether you lie, whether you exaggerate, you have to get your shit out there before everyone else. Before Jeff Hardy was even put in the cop car, you had people, breaking news, check out my podcast, breaking news, you got to watch it now, because if you wait 12 hours, you know, the story is not going to be good anymore. You know, everybody's got a race. You know, something happens in the middle of the night, they got a 3 o'clock in the morning. They got a rate because, oh my God, if I do it the next day, nobody will pay attention to me because now 50,000 other places already report. I don't give a shit about that stuff. I feel if you take the time, tune into my stuff, and we talk about news, one thing I don't think you want from me is to lie to you. One thing I don't think you want from me is to clickbait you. You don't want me to tease something and then I give you something totally different, like that goof from popculture.com that we had a good laugh with on Monday. What was his name? I don't even remember his name. Brian James. No, that's the Road Dogg. I don't remember his name, but he's got the answer. Why so? You say nothing. I'd rather just give you straight up truth. And if I give you opinion, my honest opinion, I don't clickbait here. I'm not saying anybody's clickbaiting online, but if I were them, I would get the answer 100% before you start running with it. She could have been released. I don't know. I'm doing a show right now, but I say I'll get whatever info I can for you. You know, I always try. And if you notice my shows, believe me, there's a lot of haters out there. If we report something wrong here, you would find it all over my Twitter, all over YouTube, all over any chat or place possible. You would have people just coming out of the woodwork. DT, you fucking lied. DT, you are wrong. You reported a fake news. For years, if not decades, there are people on the sideline just waiting to put in capital letters on my shit. Fake news, Don Tony. Yeah, I mean, once in a blue moon, we do get something wrong. I'm not denying that. But if you notice, 99.9% of the time, most of the shit that ends up being bullshit never even reaches this show. Never reaches here. If you really pay close attention, a lot of that bullshit never reaches here. As far as that Vince stuff, I already have some info on there, but I want to verify a few things. And, we'll talk about it Saturday, because I don't want to sit here because people right now are accusing Vince of sexually abusing someone and then trying to use hush money, because he did something wrong and he passed her to Johnny Ace and he had his way with this woman. I heard from people who I trust is that this woman was a willing participant in a physical relationship with Vince McMahon. Boy, does that sound a lot different. Does that make Vince a creep? Yeah. Will some people envy that a man at 76 years old still wants to do the nasty? However you look at it. But if it ends up that Vince cheated on his wife, which is fucked up, no question. But if Vince had a consensual sexual relationship with an employee, sure, that's grounds of dismissal. But people online are trying to portray Vince that he committed sexual abuse. You understand now why it is very, very important to have the story right. But for a lot of people online, I got to get my shit out there. I got to get my stuff out there. Fuck you, Vince. You're going to finally get brought down, you fucking evil, this and that. And then 10,000 people be like, yeah. I have no interest in that. I will get you the full story. I will let you know what I find out. And when I do, we'll talk about it. So expect that Saturday. Definitely expect it Saturday. But I will tell you right now, early information I'm getting is that this was a completely consensual relationship. Yes, it's inappropriate. An executive having a relationship with an employee for many companies, that is totally inappropriate. I'm not saying that Vince did anything appropriate here, but the idea that people are painting him almost like a rapist and then hush money to cover up that he committed abuse, that's whack. Even the stock market and the business world is not saying that. Again, the business world is covering some of this, and I always tell you, go to outside news sources. You could trust, to a certain extent, MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, Business Wire, the financial world. You can trust them to a certain extent. But if you see the pattern that all of those major news networks are going in this direction and only wrestling websites are going in a totally different Twilight Zone direction, chances are those wrestling websites are just using you to listen and click on their shit. And it's not true whatsoever. And then they'll just, twist it. Our sources tell us this. Behind it, I had people DM me already that they know who the woman is. I won't put the woman's name out there because, first of all, she doesn't want a name out there. But I will, if you think that I'm bullshitting you, I don't even know if I'll tell the initials. But I had a few people tell me, DT, they're talking about this person. And I said, yeah, and? Well, I figured you'd want to know. Thank you. Still not mentioned. It's private, but it's still a serious issue. So, all right. So you got a little tiny WWE after all. So we are in an hour and 55 minutes. We went longer than I wanted, obviously. We want to try to keep these around 75 minutes, because we do so many different shows, but obviously every show has a different theme. Now, I will be Friday on the watch party for Rampage and SmackDown. So I will post some previews on the community section on my social media. I hope you could join. And if you're new, stop by. We had a whole bunch of newbies the last week, and everybody's having a great time. If I don't see you in the watch party Friday, then join me here Saturday night, 8:05 p.m. Eastern for the Don Tony Show. And believe me, we have quite a few topics to get into. So I am working on it. I will definitely get you everything I can find out about SASHA. We'll get to the bottom of this Vince stuff. We'll talk about what could happen. There's 2 lawsuits that we need to get into. One involves AEW, believe it or not. Another one may involve WWE, and it's not the MLW suit. So I'll get some information. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, guys, gals, it's been awesome. Thank you very much for spending part of your Wednesday night with me. Post your comments in the comment section. Let me know, what you thought about AEW tonight, especially. Anything you want to add or react to what we were talking about with Jeff Hardy. It's a very, very serious situation. And I could just imagine what is going through that guy's mind right now at home. So we don't want it to turn into a tragedy. We don't want it to turn into a Sunny. We don't want to hear that he got behind the wheel and injured himself or somebody else. We want this to have a good conclusion, a positive end to a story. But we can't force that positive ending. We all want that positive ending. We hope that positive ending. Even when we see little bits of the story, we kind of twist it to try to appease us in some way because we don't want to see Jeff Hardy suffering like this. And we don't want to see him ruin the rest of his life. So all we could do is just show support and hope for the best. That's all we could do. So it's been real, everybody. Be well, all the best. And I'll see you either in a watch party or Saturday night. Good night, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.